Again, my name is Christy Shotwell, and I work with ministry denominations and networks here at gloo. And I've been with gloo for about 4 years. So I lead this team, and we're just grateful for the work and the just participation with the Assemblies of God, not only with Doug Clay and the leadership there, but just all the way down. You guys have been phenomenal, and I'm excited to be able to kind of dive in a little deeper today and share with you how this opportunity with gloo and Assemblies of God can be beneficial for your district, but also for the churches individually as you're ministering to folks within your congregation or your communities. And so what I want to kind of start with today is just letting you know that at gloo we do connected ministry. We've been in business about 13 years, and we've just really made it our mission to serve the church, help them scale, and support them with technology. And so we do that in a variety of ways. And everything I'm going to share with you today on this call is 100% donor funded, meaning that generous donors have paid the cost for churches to access all of these resources absolutely free. And as you were signing in just a moment there, you noticed that there was nothing that asked you for payment details, or, it's not a sign up and then 7 days, oh my goodness, now I'm stuck with these, charges that I wasn't aware of. We don't ask for payment at all because it is fully funded. So anyway, so just kind of that little bit of clarity there from the beginning. And so I'm gonna kind of get started here. Today we've got technology at our fingertips. We're always running around with our phones and devices, but really we're a disconnected culture. And so how do we engage people better and reach and serve more people? How do we find the best tools and resources to help us make informed decisions so we can see people's needs more clearly? And that really is twofold for you all in ministry. It's the congregation. You're seeing them on Sunday morning, or maybe they're viewing with you online on Sunday morning, but how do we engage them throughout the week? How do we stay connected with them throughout the week? But also the other side of that, how do we do those same things with people who are not already engaged with our church? And so that's a challenge, I know, that you guys encounter. And so hopefully what I'm going to share with you will bring a little bit of clarity and a little bit of help. And maybe there'll be some nugget here that you can add to your own ministry toolbox to help you moving forward. So with gloo, you can do connected ministry. And that helps you to bring together your people and your team and your resources, so you can know with confidence what to do next and have the right tools to know and serve your people better. Our platform, so it's like twofold that I'm talking about. I'm telling you about gloo and the contents of our platform. We have features inside of there that are completely 100% free texting. So you're able to text your congregation. You can do texting like a broadcast. You can use it for prayer. You can do a series of devotional prompts, maybe some touch points throughout the week, staying connected with individuals. Churches, you've got ways of reaching back out to individuals after they visit for the first time. The texting component allows you to add a little spin to that, and you could do some little nurtures throughout the week. Glad you came, and just kind of touch points to kind of keep them connected, let them know that you've been thinking about them and hope that they would return. And the same thing if you've got new believers, there's resources available there. We have assessment tools within the platform. Barna is one of the trusted partner that we've had for some time. Done a lot of work with Barna, and there's actually a multitude of assessments available. There's one in particular that ties very closely with the He Gets Us campaign. We'll talk about that one here in a moment. But it's really helps us. That particular assessment is for the congregation to really understand the church's perception of Jesus. Are we on point? Do we have some areas that we could, have some improvement in, or are we really shining and running strong? And how do we highlight those areas that we're doing very well? And so, again, great resources there, all from trusted partners that and then there are multiple outreach campaigns that within the platform you get to participate in. And all of it is provided at, again, no cost. Generous donors have made this available for churches to get engaged. When I said multiple outreach partners, I kind of want to hone in on that for just a moment. We know that advertising is not cheap, right? And campaigns, whether you have the funds to do it, sometimes you might not have the means to do it, right? I mean, the bandwidth or the expertise to pull it off. And so what we've learned is that by aligning and doing cooperative programming, cooperative promotions, we're able to allow all churches to be involved, regardless of their size, and they can be participants in these particular campaigns. So the exposure's out there from the campaigns, and the church is getting the benefit from that exposure. And as you see here on the left, this is some of the campaign partners that we work with. He gets us obviously very front and center right now, and we will spend some time on that one here in a moment. K-Love, which is Salem Radio, we do a lot of work with them. Churches Care is kind of our flagship. It's where we started running felt need ads, people hurting, people needing help with relationships. They're sad, they're grieving, coming out of the pandemic. There's a lot of grief and loss. And so those ads are designed to really hit people with their felt needs and then connect with those individuals. Hope with God, Groundwire, and a new one, Crossover, which is really the first, our first effort, I guess, with a campaign partner of touching TikTok and diving into that. And the response that we've had is overwhelming. I was not quite sure how that one would take off, and it has really far exceeded, I think, what we anticipated. And so as these ads run, regardless if I'm watching an ad on television or I'm seeing it on my phone, I'm scrolling on my phone, they all allow the individual to either watch the video, read an article, maybe it's a survey, if it's a marriage, questioning your relationship or something, you might fill out a survey on that. At the end of that consumption of content, the individual has the opportunity to talk with someone or to ask for prayer. And so they take the initiation. Yes, I want to connect with someone. They leave their name, they leave their phone number, their email, their zip code, and what it is that they're wanting to talk with someone about. And so they submit that contact card, is what I tend to call it, and it comes into our platform. And then we route that individual to the nearest participating church based on the zip code of the individual. And so from there, the church is able to take that next step, reaching out to the individual, offering prayer, offering help, maybe just being a listening ear, and potentially being able to, invite them into the church, hopefully get them to get connected and plugged into the church. So any questions there? That's a lot that I've kind of unpacked there at this moment. Any thoughts or questions? Okay. All right. Again, if you've got questions, you just reach out and let me know. Okay. All right. I'm going to move on to the next. This right here is an example. If I were looking on Facebook, what I might see, I'm scrolling through and there's an ad, struggling with loneliness, and then I could click into the ad. So it's really catching people right where they're at. And we know our data tells us that of the people that reach out and say, yes, I want to connect with someone, the majority of those happen between 7 at night and 10. So it's not necessarily when church is happening, right? But it is when ministry wants to happen. And so having that opportunity to intersect with individuals during those moments is vitally important. And we spend 4.5 hours average a day on our devices, which is just crazy. And I think, no, we don't. And then what happens on Sunday, I get my notification telling me, was I up last week or was I down? Right. So, a phone lets us know. Yeah, you were on your phone a lot. So, but again, these are samples of those ads that are running Instagram and Facebook, primarily of these images here. So I want to talk a little bit about the He Gets Us campaign. That's one of our partners. It's the one that's getting the most, eyeballs on it right now, because in 2022, the ad spend promotion of that particular campaign was $100 million. And so they're all, they're on television, they're on Instagram and Facebook. They're billboards. You're driving down the highway and you see them. They're in major markets, like you're, coming into New York City in Times Square. You're going to see the images there. Baseball games, football games, basketball games, anywhere that people are out doing life. We're trying to be front and center, and the campaign is trying to be front and center and make awareness that Jesus gets us, right? So I do want to know how many people, you can do it with on the screen if you want to do it with a show of hands, how many people have seen the ads? And I can see, okay, good. I can see Dave and Lance there. Thank you. And Mike has seen them. Fantastic. That's great. That's great. I'll show you one here in just a moment. So everybody, if those that haven't seen one, you won't miss out. But I want to give you an idea of how this particular campaign partner is really rallying behind and building out resources and capabilities to help the church. So we've got the ads running. We have prayer guides. We have Bible reading plans. We have topical and expository sermon outlines, discussion guides. All of that is inside of the gloo platform, all focused towards these particular ads that are running. So this kind of in a nutshell will kind of tell you about that. So let me share my screen. Armina, play this here.
There's a new movement happening in the country to reclaim the promise of Jesus' unconditional love and grace, and to see his church rise above cultural tensions. He Gets Us hopes to give it a voice. The biggest faith campaign in history, He Gets Us invites a rapidly growing audience, from spiritual explorers to like-minded Christians, to reconsider the radical life of Jesus. And whatever people might hear, or think, or read about Jesus, they're invited to consider his example for themselves. Now, your church has free access to dozens of He Gets Us media assets, prayer and discussion guides, sermon series, and even apparel. This growing list of resources will equip your congregation to be ready to reflect Jesus to those they influence. So join us and thousands of churches with this unprecedented campaign to reach and change lives like never before.
It's pretty cool. Pretty awesome that we get to be a part of that, and see that come to fruition. So any questions on that from what you've seen so far? Anybody?
That's great.
So what do you mean for the free component of that? Like, like, what does that mean? Like, it says apparel and that kind of stuff, but I know there's always shirts.
Yeah,
and
that's
that
great.
kind of
That's a great question. Apparel means that there are t-shirts, hats, water bottles, stickers that are on what we call kind of a well, it's a fan page, if you will. And you don't pay with money, you pay with acts of service. So if I go out there, I'm an individual, I could go out to the fan page and I want to get a hat, or I want to get a t-shirt. I choose the acts of service that I'm going to do. I'm going to forgive someone. I'm going to love someone. I'm going to pray with someone. I'm going to be kind to someone, and so that's what I'm using as my monetary way of receiving that item. And then it gets shipped to the individual. Inside of the gloo platform, a church can order like a kit, if you will. I think it's like 25 items at a time. You can order in bulk. And again, no cost. And so it's all acts of service. So if a group of, maybe a small group wanted to do something together and lean in together, we're in the apparel, they certainly could do that. Yeah, that's a good question though. That's great. All right, I'm going to keep going. Okay. If y'all have other questions, you let me know. Oh, I knew it was going to do that. It always wants to, there we go. So, we're data people here, and research is important, and so we like to share what we can as far as statistics and all. And so in 2021, as the people that have created the He Gets Us campaign, when they were getting ready for this initiative, they did some research and they did some quantitative and qualitative inquiries, of individuals wanting to know what their perception was of Jesus or their thoughts of Jesus. And as you see, the research here is showing like segmentation. It's got non-believers on the left and spiritually open or skeptical, and then cultural Christians in the middle, along with engaged Christians on the outside. And so the ad campaigns are focusing on the 54% in the center, those that are open to learning about Jesus And the questions that they asked, the results shared back. The issue isn't Jesus. They might not be engaged with the church. They may be spiritually open, but they're skeptical. It's not Jesus. It's not the issue. And so we've got to figure out a way to help them unpack and understand the humanity of Jesus, all while leading them, hopefully into a deeper relationship, right? So they're open to his teachings. They see him as a peacemaker and approachable and compassionate. And from the research, they discovered that felt needs is a great way to engage the skeptical. And so that's kind of where that comes from, just to kind of let you know. This is the target that we're going after, or the campaign is going after. And all of it is in an attempt to really lead a person towards Jesus. And it's a two-bridge approach. And, in our, those of us that have been in church or grown up in the church or attending church, we've all learned of the gap, right? There's a man on one side and there's God on the other, and our sin separates us. But Jesus then becomes that bridge to connect. But there's actually two bridges is what really we're bringing awareness to. And we have to help that individual get over that first bridge, which is really understanding the humanity of Jesus and really wanting to lean in deeper so that the partners, meaning churches, can come alongside and help them understand the fullness of God in Christ, or fullness of Christ, that he was human and God. So the ad campaigns, when you see them, they're 30 seconds, a minute long. They're not going to have a plan of salvation. They're not going to go into, a real deep message, but they're all going to remind the individual that it doesn't matter the situation we go through. Jesus understands it because Jesus was human. Jesus gets our human issues that we encounter every day. So that's where the ad is trying to help build that first bridge. And then our hope is that in connecting individuals to a local church, then the deeper dive can continue, and they can really come across that second bridge of really, really understanding that Jesus was also fully God. So I hope that helps in kind of segmenting it. And the reason we really have this analogy here is just to help people. And we on the engaged Christian side, we look at the ad and we're like, well, gosh, they didn't say this and they didn't say that. Well, there's a reason for it. We want to have a starting point, and this is that first step, if you will. Since the campaign has begun, we have had over 382 million responses from YouTube. Their commercials are, again, they're 30 seconds to a minute. They're in Spanish and in English. So if you go out to YouTube, go to the He Gets Us channel, you'll see all of the different options that are out there. There's been over 7 billion impressions. So remember, I told you they're on billboards and all these different avenues. And so that 7.2 billion impressions is so impressive. Individuals that have asked for prayer, over 10,000. There are 3 YouVersion He Gets Us reading Bible plans, and they've had over 52,000 downloads, which is phenomenal. That means that individual actually said, hey, I've seen this commercial and I want to know a little bit more about Jesus, and they've gone to the Bible to look for that. And so that's great. That's what we want, and that's how we've intended. The campaign is intended. We're actually over 105,000. I need to update this slide. I've been working on getting some details together, but over 105,000 people have been connected to a local church. And that is actually not just He Gets Us. That's from all the campaigns that Gloo participates in. Remember, I showed you the multiple campaign partners. So 105,000 connections have been made to over 17,000 churches. So we need more churches. As you can see, there's always, the harvest is plenty, and we need more churches to come alongside and help with that. I'm going to look up here. Let's see. I see a chat. Let me see what that is. I'm going to kind of pull it over. Oh, that's Tim. He's put the YouTube channel. Thank you very much, Tim, my teammate there. I'm going to come over here, kind of giving you just awareness. Again, the campaign has 2 objectives. One is to influence attitudes and perceptions of Jesus. And the other is to call on us as believers to be, to reflect more authentically how we love others, you know, having the love of Jesus and expressing that more authentically. If we review the commercials, and I'll show you one here in a moment, they're all designed to be a modern imagery, but also an element, a scriptural element, right? So it's like the visual is something that's current and present for us, but it's telling a story. It's tying it together with a biblical or scriptural reference. Jesus told parables, right? He would speak to fishermen and tell fish stories. He would speak to farmers and tell agricultural stories. So he crafted his language to resonate with the people. And that's what the campaign is hoping for, that by giving that modern look and today's issues that we're dealing with, and then seeding it with some scriptural value, that hopefully we can bridge that gap there. And of course, 1 Corinthians 9:22, you see on the screen, I have become all things to all people, so that by all means or possible means I might save some. So this is one of the current ads that are running right now. It started around Thanksgiving. And it's really focusing on, I'll show you a timeline in a moment, it's really focusing on second chances. That's kind of the outline of where the campaign is putting emphasis right now. And so, yeah, so take a listen and a watch.
There was a family. They played together and laughed together. But they weren't completely alike. And as they grew older, their opinions widened, and they distanced from each other. Conversations became heated. Reunions became more and more uncomfortable.
They thought they were made for each other, only thinking of one another.
Brother aligned against sister.
Never thinking just for 1 second.
Birthdays were ignored, gatherings stopped. Because each had to be right.
We don't want them. Oh no. We don't want them. We don't want them. We don't want them.
It's pretty moving, isn't it? Pretty moving. So, okay, I'm gonna.
There was a
past it. So this is the calendar line that I was sharing. So from fall up until the end of the year, everything was on, or November, I should say, everything was unity through love. And now we're in that season of second chances. So we're gearing up to the Super Bowl, which I'll share that here in a moment. But the fact that we're doing second chances, again, there are resources inside the platform that reinforce what you see in that Family Matters video. So if you wanted to use that video in a sermon, you certainly could use that. You have free access to use that content. And then the resources that kind of go along beside that, you're able to download and access those as well. Coming into February, everything's going to be focusing on the third way, that Jesus was a third way. There's another way, and Jesus was the third way. And that's going to all center around, you know, that's the subject, but it's all in the timeline of when the Super Bowl is happening. And 2 commercials, he gets us commercials, will be in the Super Bowl. And, you know, at a time when we have the technology to zip past commercials when we're watching television, that one program is one where everyone watches the commercials. So we're going to have a captive audience when these ads are running, and an opportunity then to dive into conversation with our friends. If we've got people over watching the game together, or if churches are doing watch parties or youth groups are doing watch parties, you've got an opportunity here to really, you know, connect with individuals after they see these commercials. So we're super excited about that. I've got some information I'll share with you here in just a moment on that as well. April on to June is about sacrifices and the sacrifices that Jesus made for us. And then what's needed will be leading up late summer into fall. And what it means by what's needed is what's needed for that radical love that Jesus showed. And so gives you a timeline, helps you plan out if you're a pastor. And we were, my friend, teammate Tim that's on the call, we were with the Wesleyan group last week, and a pastor came up, and they are actually preparing for Lent. And they're getting their sermon outlines together and really going to use these resources throughout the Lent and into Easter season. So the team there, they were super excited and ready to get started in that regard. So it was encouraging for me to hear that they're using the resources and being creative with how it fits in their ministry. So Super Bowl, 2 commercials in the Super Bowl. This just went live and it's in your account. Once you create an account, I'm going to share this with you and then I'll flip back. But it's kind of twofold. Once you create a Gloo account, you will be able to see, and I was getting your account together a while ago. So this is yours. You're able to see Super Bowl resources. And so here we can see your, you can do, there's a quick start resource guide. There's content, social media content, talking points that a pastor could have. The Super Bowl equipping bundle, where you could actually order some resources to have if you're doing these little watch parties. And then icebreaker, small group discussion questions if you wanted to utilize those. One thing here that's a little bit small in the font, it says He Gets Us right there. Max Lucado is releasing a He Gets Us book. It should be dropping the end of the month, maybe 1st of February, but it will be ready in time for the Super Bowl. And then it'll be something that churches will be able to access and be able to get copies of. So we're excited about that and that additional layer of partnership there. So this is in the platform again, but the beautiful thing about this also is that we don't want this to be a barrier that, okay, I'm Christy the congregant and I'm inviting my whole street for a Super Bowl party. I want to be able to access these resources. How do I do that? Well, there's a fan page, if you will, where I can get ready and get connected and be ready to go with Super Bowl stuff. I can text this number, Super Bowl, to this number, and I can get reminders right before the commercials start, so I can be prepared with my visitors that are at my home. And then I have inside access, get my alerts, resources. There's a better view of that book. And just touch point, again, I can get the kit and have that available as well. So super excited that there's just such a combined effort to really bring awareness of Jesus. Last couple of things I want to share with you is that as I was showing that hub for Super Bowl, there's also a hub for Assemblies of God churches and networks. And so inside of the platform, in conjunction with Doug Clay and leadership, we've got resources that are actually from your denomination that the leadership felt were good fits for this evangelistic motion. And so those resources are there and ready for you to access, as well as a whole section devoted to the He Gets Us campaign. So super excited about that. How can you as a church get started? Super easy. This QR code here that we just created, it goes, you click into that and you will fill out as simple as what's on the screen: your first name, last name, email, phone number, create a password. On the next page, you will sign in your church's name, your zip code, and how many average weekly attendance, and then you're in. And the exciting thing about this is that this particular code connects to the Montana Ministry Network, and therefore the team there will be able to see what churches are participating. Once you start receiving explorers, which is where those people fill out the contact card and want to connect with the church, they'll be able to see what kind of topics are coming in: sadness, relationship, what grief maybe, right? And so as they're able to see what the top topics are that are coming into the churches they serve, it can help reinforce for them ways that they can bring resources and equipping opportunities for you. Gosh, it looks like in this 3-mile radius, we've got a problem with finances. Perhaps we might do something to help the community around, balancing budget, or, being good stewards of their resources. There's a plethora of ways that you can use this data, measuring of this data, to understand what are the needs in our community and how can we come alongside and help. So, all right, that's what I have to share. I'm open for questions. I would love for you guys to take it away. Let me know what you got.
So Christy, I just basically, if somebody catches one of the ads on television, or they're getting something off of Facebook or a billboard, they will then go to the He Gets Us website.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. So if they go there and ask questions, or whatever, and put their area code, then those churches that have signed up get that information.
Yes, it's correct? Not the area code, it's the zip code. It's actually the
excuse me, I meant
right.
So thank you.
Yes, so they put in their zip code and they want to connect. We then route them within a 20-mile radius to the nearest participating church. So let's say, I'm in the Bible Belt, right? There's churches just throw rocks at, they're all close together. We're not going to give to everybody. We're not going to give Tim's contact to everybody. We're going to give it to one of those churches. And then in a sense, that kind of round robin them so that we're evenly distributing them. Now, the only caveat to that is we do have resources in Spanish. And so a ministry that is, receiving individuals in Spanish, or maybe they've got Hispanic church service or whatever, there's a way to notate that inside the platform. And in those instances, we would skip over one. If we know that this person is Spanish speaking and needs to be with a Spanish speaking church, we would skip over one to get to them, in that regard. So,
okay.
Do you guys have ministries that serve? Do y'all have Hispanic network within the Montana district?
We don't.
Okay.
There's just very, very few Hispanics in Montana overall.
Okay, great.
I have a question, Christy.
Sure.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I've seen the ads, and I thought from the beginning, honestly, at first I thought it was the Mormons because it was so good, and I thought, oh wait, no, this is really Christian.
Yes.
And no offense to Mormons, but anyway, as I think it's really, really good. So I just want to make sure I understand. So by signing up with Gloo, which is you,
right,
we have full access to He Gets Us. So there's nothing extra, even though He Gets Us isn't you are kind of their clearinghouse for all the inquiry. Is that how that works?
Exactly. Our owner, Scott Beck, he used this illustration. He said, we're the switchboard. If you think about everything's coming in, and we're the switchboard to get it out to which that means not only the people to the church, but churches to the network, to the resources, and then even to the donors, which is, such a beautiful thing. Like that we've got the donors that want to give to the church to be able to do this thing, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's beautiful. So yes, no hidden cost. You're not going to get in there and say, oh, well, I thought I had access to this, which means texting is key. If I don't know if you do texting with your congregation, if you do, and you're paying a fee for that, you have full access to this at zero cost. And if you don't do it, then here's a great way to get started. And you could start small. It could be just your prayer team, if you wanted to do that. For the network, I would encourage you to set up an opportunity to have a posture of prayer through this component with the pastors you serve. I've got there's a network that I've been working with for a while. They expanded out. They've got one group that they do prayer with their pastors that serve youth, one for their pastors that are people that serve preschool and children's ministry, and pastors, and so they've segmented it out so that their messaging is strategic to those particular areas that they're serving. So
I just signed up just now. Because when I saw the QR code, I don't know if I'll ever see that again. So I did like Dave. I just hurry up and did it. And so I think I'm signed up. Is that all I really need to do? Am I
That
in?
is it. Actually, you're in. The next thing you would want to do is it's going to prompt you when you're navigating through to claim a text number. So you'll want to do that. So you have your free number and then it's there. It's yours from that point forward. You want to explore a little bit. There's a lot there to dive into. And then our success team sends out an email, and it won't come like this second, but they'll send an email out to you, welcoming you to the platform and extending to you a 30-minute session with them. It's free as well. I encourage you to do that. You'll set the time that best suits you, and then you'll join them and they can walk you through all the ins and outs of the platform. Be thinking about, if I'm going to receive these individuals, who are the people that I want alongside with me to do this? Because you're going to want, if you think about it, you're going to have women that are reaching out. So we're going to want some women that can speak into this, right? Do we have maybe some people within the church, some really strong marriage mentors that could be helpful if we need to have some discussion there? If someone reaches out, they're having a little issue in their relationship. If you've got prayer teams, get them ready, that they could be your respondents of prayer that come through, and everything's done within the platform. So you assign people, you add your team members in the platform, and then your messaging comes into the platform and you respond in that, within the platform. Now we know eventually, hopefully, that person's going to get engaged and they'll navigate over into what other means if they're in your church management system or what have you. But then at that point, you could put them in a different group. They're not these are my explorers. They're now a part of my church family, and they're in the whatever ABC group, and I could segment them into that and do communication as well. What else am I missing, Tim? I see you on there.
No, I think you covered it. You could even it's instant, and you can test it real fast. You could claim your identity, post your 1-800 number here in the chat, and the guys could text you and see the initial automated response. It's pretty cool, because if it doesn't know you, it says, oh, hey, looks like we haven't met. Can I get your full name? The person replies with their name, and your database starts to update already with their info.
And we've been thinking that it might be back up just a moment. I'm going to be in Branson at the leadership conference that you guys have the end of the month. I don't know who all will be there, but we're hoping, we've been journeying with Doug Clay for a while, and we're hoping to see if we can't kind of discuss what would it look like to do like a next step, maybe collective training or something, maybe an on-demand video or something that we can get out that's specifically for Assemblies of God. But we're available. I mean, we want to help you be successful. And again, our success team, they do a phenomenal job and walk you through steps. And another thing that's available, and you'll see it, I think is in the left side on the homepage, there's like engagement community group, I think is what it's called. I encourage you, it might not be you, it may be somebody, communications person on your team. It's a Facebook group, it's closed, but what's beautiful about that is this person might reach out, hey, I'm getting ready to do such and such, any help here? And you've got your peers in the Big C church that are leaning in and saying, hey, this is what we tried. And so it's just an added value of resource there for you. So.
And now, Christy, can we, you said you're recording this, is it video recorded as well, or just audio?
No, it's a video. It's recording right now. So what I'll do is we'll have to take out where we were we were chatting and start there, and then
if we can post this on our website, then I can really encourage more ministers to check it out and see what resources are available.
Absolutely. We'll get that edited and get it over to you. If I don't get through it this evening, I'll have it for you first thing in the morning, if that will be okay.
No problem with that.
Awesome. Well, all right. Well, if you have any other questions, you guys let us know. I'm going to I'll put my email address in here. And so if you need anything, y'all can reach out. And then Abby, she's probably out until April. So you can connect with me. Yeah. And then, she'll be back in place, but they're doing well. They're doing well, which is exciting. So, but All right. Well, it was great to connect with everyone, and best of luck. It's gonna be exciting. I saw a commercial. I watched the championship game, the championship beat down last night, but I did see an additional commercial. So I don't know if you guys saw it, but yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you, Christy, for your time, and we're excited to see how this can help people who are searching get some answers. That would be awesome. So
we're so grateful for your participation and look forward to working with you.
all
Talk
right.
to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Sounds good. Thanks, Lance and Daniel and Mike. Appreciate you guys joining us.
That was awesome. Appreciate the information.
Wonderful. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.